What if you could transform how people hear you? What if you could go from being ignored to being unforgettable? Well, I can assist with that. I've gone ahead and digested a lot of Vinh Giang's content, especially his newest podcast on the Diary of a CEO with Steven Bartlett. I've broken it down into main lessons, main takeaways, and a lot of action steps so you can follow along and you can improve your speech, as that's something I'm continually trying to do. So let's get straight to it. Public speaking expert Vinh Giang says it's not talent, it's a skill you can master. Stick around because I'm breaking down his game-changing tips from Diary of a CEO, like the one mistake making people tune you out, and a quirky trick to ditch small talk forever. Let's dive into it. So I've broken it down. So how to level up. I'm obsessed with improving my communication and speaking. I understand firsthand what it's like to not be able to speak well and articulate yourself and not be heard. So I've used this not just for myself to master it and learn from everything, but also a guide for everyone else to benefit from as well. After dissecting Vinh Giang's chat with Steven Bartlett, I'm actually blown away. He was a shy kid and then he turned it into coaching, and now he's a multi-million following count on Instagram, and his YouTube's also blowing up like crazy. He's truly cracked the code on speaking, presence, and connection. Okay. I even saw some of his live content and the live stage displays he does, and they're quite remarkable. All right, so I'll be giving you 5 transformational takeaways to revolutionize your communication, and we'll talk about that in the next slide, and then 5 practical steps to help you in any room you're in. Okay, and as I was saying before, I understand this because of firsthand, right? I'm even now, I'm not able to speak well, and I'm continually learning how to do it better. All right. I was constantly asked what when talking to people. I would talk too quietly, and they'll be like, what do you say? Like, and it's frustrating for myself because I think I have so much to say, but that's not on them. That's on me, and being able to project my voice, right? So I was also interrupted while speaking. Okay. While I spoke, someone else would speak, and that's because I didn't have the right body language. I wasn't projecting myself correctly. Okay. And being extremely nervous during public speaking at school, even when I had the palm cards in front of me, and the palm cards would be sweating, and I can't read it because my sweating is smudging the handwriting. It wouldn't be my handwriting, it'd be my parents, because I was so nervous at it, right? Even, I mean, I'm sure everyone has that and that experience, but firsthand, I knew that, and it was quite traumatizing to say the least. And I understand the importance of projection and power because of my career in the military now. In order to project in front of a class and give a PT lesson, I have to project my voice to hundreds of people so they can understand what kind of movements and activities we are doing. So if you enjoy that, hit that like button if you're ready to transform how you're heard. Okay? So your voice, an instrument, not a curse. You can create a masterpiece like Beethoven, or you can create absolute tone deaf music like all trending music these days, right? It's up to you how to use your voice and how you want to be heard. Okay? So these are 5 steps he's talked about, and 5 little hidden things you need to be recognizing as you're speaking. Okay? So the first one is melody. This is about how you vary your pitch to create engaging vocal patterns. So think in terms of pitch ups and downs, okay? I'm talking like this, I'm talking like this. Like that kind of stuff. Or I'm talking like this. You think you're Batman, or you're thinking whatever the opposite of Batman's deep voice is, right? So use that to your advantage and play around in the conversation where you can change your melody, okay? And the next one is rate. So controlling your speaking pace for maximum impact. So even then, I slowed my words down so you would understand the maximum impact I had. Or I would talk super fast in order to get to the key points in the conversation, right? So learn where to be fast and learn where to be slow. I think the nice common military phrase we use is fast where you can be and slow where you should be, right? You're going to be super fast in grabbing a pistol and ready to engage it, but you're going to be very slow in pulling the trigger and getting the correct sight picture, okay? So a lot of good transferable skills in that regard. The third one you need to be thinking about is volume. So master the quiet whisper to the powerful projection spectrum. So two different things. You have your quiet and your loud. If you're engaging with someone and having a one-on-one conversation, you're not going to start yelling at them. You're going to freak them out. You match their volume and you match their tone. Hey man, how you doing? Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. How you doing? Whispering in a cinema. There's all different scenarios where that can happen, and so that is something to be thinking about. And tonality. Let your facial expressions drive authentic emotional delivery. So how I think of this is, why'd you say that? Or hey, why'd you say that? There's and it just changes with your face. The way the emotion you feel will change how your facial structure, and you need to be cognizant of that, because you might not come across aggressive, but the way your face is showing, it's like, are you sure you said that? So facial expressions is very important, and some people are just blank face when you're talking to them and you can't read what kind of tone they're giving you, right? Yeah. And embrace strategic silence instead of using filler words. I even used it just then, using the word But instead of using the word use silence. And that can be a nice gauge to think about the next word you're going to say, instead of just filling it with just junk, okay? Because your story is not as powerful with all these filler words. You're confusing the person with all those filler words when it should just be the correct words, right? Okay. So those are 5 things that you should be thinking about when projecting your voice and when using your voice, and how to use it correctly. Next up, communication equals destiny. Invisible to unstoppable by mastering your voice and your body language, okay? Some people don't really think about how they could be using their body language and what that means. See what I'm doing? So boost your presence, stand tall with shoulders back, raise your volume slightly, and maintain eye contact with people, okay? People will stop interrupting you that way, okay? I find that if you are talking on the ground and you're not really making eye contact with people, they're not engaged. They're not fully listening to what you're having to say. So that's another thing to be thinking about. All these little things, write them down if you need to. Own your power sphere. So gestures confidently in the zone from your belly to your eyes. This creates authority instantly. Even use head tilt for active listening. You don't want to be, oh yeah, I'm listening to you. So if someone's talking to you and you want to be a good listener, just do a nice little tilt of your head. You like, oh, really? It keeps them knowing you're not just blank staring at them and everything. So now think about the power sphere and how you can use gestures to emphasize what you're talking about. And real results. So I tried this technique in my last meeting actually, and no one cut me off. I mean, no one really does cut me off in those kind of circumstances and those kind of meetings. But the difference that you can be doing is just standing up when you're speaking. Everyone in the boardroom is sitting down talking, and they all sit down and talk. I mean, if you stand up and start speaking, everyone will pay attention, right? Because not everyone's doing that. You're the one that's unique and stand out, and it sets you apart from the rest. It makes you seem more powerful, right? So try that next time. And next one is a nice little game that he talked about in the podcast, and it's in terms of high and low buffalo. I didn't hear about this before, but it's actually a fun little technique you can do to ditch all the small talk. Okay, so it's a technique to help interact, network, and get to know someone. It's yeah, our whole life is improv in talking, so get used to it. Nothing is planned in reality. I mean, I could plan this conversation and this YouTube video to make it the best kind of video for yourself, but in reality, one-on-one conversation is just all improv. You know, you said something and I reply, and I'm thinking about the reply, and I get back to you. Right? It's fantastic. So the way high and low buffalo works, if you want to get to know someone, this is not just someone you talk to on the bus, but if you actually want to get to know a coworker, you can use this and have multiple conversation streams from it. So the first part is share a recent joy or success. The second part of it is the low, so reveal a current struggle. And the third is buffalo. Tell something weird or unexpected. So the example they used in the podcast was they gave an example of the podcast being fantastic and that it was a great podcast. That's their high. And then their low. They didn't feel like they were worth enough. They were feeling not enough. You know, they didn't work out as much as they should have. And then the buffalo being an interesting fact was they owning three alpacas, right? And in terms of this conversation, you know, I'm really enjoying making this YouTube video. It's pretty engaging, and I'm learning so much just by reiterating the lessons I learned on the podcast. The low is I probably haven't had enough water today. I'm feeling a bit, you know, headache coming along. I should be drinking more water. Okay. And a buffalo is a fun and interesting fact is I sold 2 things on Facebook Marketplace today, and I'm now doing this. So you can just spit out whatever you want, but the effect of this is that you say something and the other person would almost react to what you're saying, but then give their own high and low buffalo. And from there, you can split the conversation 6 ways and just keep following it. I mean, it might not work all the time. You might say, oh, hey, did you watch that new show recently? And they just shut you down. Like, oh, I don't watch shows or anything. But like, stem off the other ones. You know, just keep playing along where you can. That's 6 different conversations to be had, right? So something to think about, something to play along with if you want to. Next up is you're not stuck. Reinvent. So if you want to improve and you want to do better every single day, this might not take this might take a little while to do, but you'll start playing around with it and you will improve. So start by recording yourself. Use your phone to capture how you really sound and appear, and just know that you might hear back how you sound and you might not think you're sounding like an angel, right? Because we're not used to our voice. So be cognizant of that and just be understanding. The more you hear yourself, the more you will tune out exactly how you sound and be okay with it, okay? So first hear how you sound. Identify any of the patterns you have. So if you say ums and ahs, or if you say like too many times, so spot your communication flaws and without judgment at first, and then change 3 things. Focus on fixing any monotone delivery, any fidgeting you do, you know, messing with your hands or anything, and any quiet volume you have at any stage in the conversation, okay? Yeah. So here it says, I hated my voice until I practiced speaking loudly with strangers. And if that is too daunting, speak to yourself in front of the mirror, okay? And then evolve to going to a coffee shop and generate more of a conversation with someone instead of just, oh, I just get a cappuccino. That's how was your day? You know, has you had many customers recently? And just keep flowing along. I mean, don't play high and low buffalo with them because they're trying to do their job, but you know, play around with it, okay? So stories plus energy equals power. He spoke about this, and I thought it was pretty impressive because, you know, people shouldn't just report their stories. They should find an engaging way to tell it. And this is a framework for that so you can use it for yourself, okay? So it's facts storytelling. So include a visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and a sensory detail. So an example of this is the stairs had a spiral shape to them, too much of it, and it felt cramped as I was coming down them, right? But the venue, as I came down to that, I could hear the acoustic playing of the live music, and I felt like everything opened up because I could smell just this fresh aircon blowing around the room, and the room felt open because there was just so many nice chairs around and empty space that I could just sit and enjoy that live music, right? By adding in those different layers, you can almost visualize it and keep the audience, or keep whoever you're engaging with, keep them in tune with you, okay? So story structure: hook, struggle, win, and meaningful takeaway. This is another thing to be playing along with, as well as your VAC storytelling, is hook. Yeah, like any good YouTube video, really. As in, we need to do a hook and a call to action at the end. We all know that. But figure what draws people in, right? So I've labeled this as red, just to spin, as an improv style. So I had a fright of my life yesterday. I came home from work, and after a terribly long day, I noticed a dog was missing. I looked in the backyard, I called out for help, and nothing. My heart was beating from that. I didn't know what to do. I asked the neighbors, I asked people down the road. I walked back and forth yelling for him, and all I knew, as I saw and I walked around the corner, my partner had taken him to the dog park. The absolute worst case scenario turned amazing, but I joined, and we threw the ball and had a great time. But that could have turned bad. That was trash, really, in theory, but a bit of improv, bit of playing around. But as long as you have a hook, struggle, win, and a meaningful takeaway, like I enjoyed playing ball with them at the end of the day. Try and do your best. Energy currency. This is a big one that I do very much believe, and if you can put it into play where you can, then an even better bonus, right? But give big energy to receive big results. Store it up wisely and know when to use it. So in terms of this video, I might have saved my energy throughout the day knowing I was going to film something. So I would have just stored it away. And when I came into the video, I put energy into it because the video deserves that kind of energy. So use your energy wisely. If you have a big boardroom meeting, or if you need to talk to someone important, then save that energy, because energy is important to save. You don't want to go do hill sprints and then go talk to your boss. You probably won't come out with the best result. All right, so think about how you can use that wisely. So the 5-step plan to master this, like we talked about at the start of the video. So daily recording, try and speak for 5 minutes and fix one element each day, and make sure those videos that you make are improv. You can use ChatGPT to come up with certain topics, but play around with it and use improv. Otherwise, you'll just be regurgitating and reading off something, okay? Play high and low buffalo where you can. Try this with your friends or try it with your co-workers, and you'll see what kind of sparks fly. Volume challenge. So practice speaking loudly in public. Engage in a longer conversation at the coffee shop. This might be very daunting to do, but it's in the uncomfortable moments where we really grow. So try this. And the VAC storytelling. So just remember all those little steps in order for the story to be engaging for the audience or for the person you're speaking to. And pre-talk ritual. So deep breaths, you can do a bit of box breathing, a bit of Wim Hof breathing, and to do some quick push-ups and any vocal warm-ups you might be doing, like warm up your voice, warm up your mouth muscles. These are all important to do. But if you don't do those and do those push-ups or those pacing walking, those will reflect in your presentation or in your videos or whatever, because you'll have that adrenaline pumping in you on stage. You might be fiddling in the conversation or something like that. So get rid of it where you can and warm up where you can. Okay, so those are the 5 steps in order to master your speech and get ahead of the game. Okay, moving forward, let's level up together. Okay, we're both here one-on-one. Let's do it. Leveling up. So which tip was your favorite? Okay, was it the high and low buffalo, or was it the tones that you can have? The vocal hacks, I really enjoyed having, the highs and lows, the pauses. I think the pauses are so powerful in a conversation. Even if you just watch all the greatest speakers, even having Jordan Peterson up there, he's the best public speaker you could be listening to. I'll actually link it in the description of his ARC. It was his ARC speech he made. It was a presentation. It was so beautiful to watch. But try that, okay? So I want you to do it for yourself. Comment your Buffalo. Give me your highs, low, and Buffalo, and I'll read it and I'll respond to every single comment, okay? I'm excited to see what you'll comment. All right? So subscribe for more. All right? I've got more coming, and I always enjoy making these. But as always, I'm Jaden Conway. Thank you for watching.